there, YouTube. This is Mr. Comment77, and I'm here to give my opinion about why there wasn't a Ruby and Sapphire remake in Generation 5. I am recording with my iPad. It's my first time using YouTube Capture. So, let's just get started. First of all, let's start with the plotline. Every time a Pokemon game was remade, and with the generation, it fit with the plotline. For example, Generation 1 was remade in Generation 3, because Red and Blue happened at the same time as Ruby and Sapphire. And the same thing with Generation 4 and Generation 2 remakes. Gold and Silver happened at the same time as Diamond and Pearl. Gold and Silver are sequels to Red and Blue, but that doesn't make Diamond and Pearl sequels to Ruby and Sapphire, but that's different. Second of all is the access to Pokemon. The reason Red and Blue and Gold and Silver were remade because you couldn't transfer your Pokemon from Gold and Silver to Ruby and Sapphire. So from up until Gen 4, there's a huge lack of Johto Pokemon, and in Gen 3 itself, there's a huge lack of Kanto Pokemon. So in Gen 3, they made the Kanto remake, and so then Kanto Pokemon was more accessible, and in Gen 4, they made a Johto remake. So everything that couldn't be transferred before had its new appearance. So you wouldn't have the same exact one as you trained in Gold and Silver, but it would still be the same species of Pokemon. So at least people could still catch them all if they needed to. So there wasn't really a need for, and even in current day, there isn't a need for a Generation 3 remake, because first of all, if you made a Generation 3 remake in Generation 5, Generation 5 is after the events of Diamond and Pearl, and Diamond and Pearl is after the events of Ruby and Sapphire. So if Ruby and Sapphire is remade into Generation 5, it have to be more of a sequel itself than being an actual remake. And pretty much every Ruby and Sapphire Pokemon has been distributed in events or catchable. Back in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you could catch Latios and Latios, and also there was Groudon and Kyogre, and a whole plethora of other Hoenn Pokemon, using Hoenn Sound and just finding stuff, because Heart Gold had a lot of Pokemon. Black version 2 in Generation 5 also helped a lot with this. There was the Reggies, of course, again, Latios and Latios, tons more Hoenn Pokemon. Black version didn't have any Hoenn legendaries, but did have a few Hoenn Pokemon from White Forest, and and also Swarm Pokemon, the Pokemon Outbreaks. And then Pokemon X only has, Kalos and Kanto legendaries, because it has a huge focus on Kanto. But there are still some Hoenn Pokemon that you can catch in it, but it's just not as much as other games. So yeah, that's why I think that there wasn't a Generation 3 remake in Generation 5, but you never know what Nintendo can do. I'm excited to see what they're doing next for Generation 6, actually. Next game is at the Z, or maybe X squared, even though this game isn't about math. I don't know. But the one thing to note about X and Y is they just put a huge focus on Kanto. They had the Pokemon Origins animated revival. They had almost every Kanto legendary catchable except for Mew, but it's an event. They'll let you pick the Kanto starters. Yeah, X and Y just reminds me of Kanto. And also Kalos and Kanto start with the same first two letters, but that's probably just a coincidence. Well, anyway, see you, YouTube. This is my first video in a long time. I have one more video planned. So, yeah, see you later.